Welcome to the Northern Michigan Recreation Weather Podcast. My name is John Petoskey, and here's the forecast for the 9th and 10th of April of 2011. As we look at the forecast graphic from the National Weather Service office in Gaylord, you'll see that Friday looks pretty decent with partly sunny skies and temperatures ranging from around the upper 40s into the mid 50s. Saturday looks pretty nice. Maybe a few more clouds, but otherwise temperatures ranging from around 50 to right around 60, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's in the lower 60s in some locations. Sunday looks like it's even better, with us possibly even hitting 70 in some of our southern low areas, but otherwise it looks like mid 60s across a good portion of northern lower Michigan. Eastern upper Michigan looks like it's going to be a little chillier, and that's where those temperatures in the 50s are going to come from. And we do look at a chance for some thunderstorms and possibly even heavy rain, so we'll talk a little bit more about that here in the upcoming portion of the forecast. To start off with, from yesterday on Wednesday, the Climate Prediction Center put out its hazardous weather assessment, and it looked like that northern Michigan, at least northern lower Michigan, was in the chance for some heavy rain, and the severe weather would get close to the area. We're going to take a look at both of those and show you how it's changed over the last 24 hours based on the prediction centers that are concerned with the closer time frames. In this case, now we're looking at Friday night, so as everyone gets up here, we're going to be in high pressure, so things look pretty nice so far, and we're not expecting too much out of the ordinary. In fact, it would be probably sunny to partly cloudy skies across the region in the afternoon, and the evening should be quite pleasant across the region. It's later on, as we get into Saturday during the day, the warm front, which was a stationary front the day before, is going to start coming north, and that area of low pressure in Nebraska is going to start moving towards our area. What that means is that we could be seeing some severe weather. Now, it's a pretty low chance. I mean, we have a 5% chance for any of the thunderstorms that we do see overnight on Saturday night becoming severe, especially with the main action expected out in roughly Iowa. And when that happens, typically that steals most of the energy. But it is not out of the question for us to possibly get a thunderstorm or two that might want to throw a little bit of hail or some damaging winds. We'll have to keep an eye on that as we get closer to the time period. As we look at Sunday morning, however, the low pressure system, while it still is somewhat in Nebraska, another portion of it has broken off and is now in central Minnesota, and it is dragging that warm front up through the region. This is why we're going to get some very warm temperatures, and it is also the reason why we're going to probably see some heavy rain and possibly severe weather on Sunday as well. Looking at the Storm Prediction Center's 4 to 8 day outlook, and on day 4, which is Sunday, it looks like that's when they're expecting the severe weather to get up closer to our area. Right now, it looks like the northern end of that line runs from about Manistee over to about Saginaw. So a very small area of northern Michigan is going to be involved, but some of the places, like from Big Rapids on south, could see some severe weather at that point. Please stay tuned to your local National Weather Service forecasts to see more details as we get in closer, and I'll try to get some stuff out as we get into Saturday, just in case you are out doing something and you have a web access when you're out and about. The other thing that I did mention was that heavy rain is also a possibility, and right now the Hydrometeorological Prediction Center out of Washington, D.C., which helps the Weather Service do their job at forecasting the amount of rain, is showing almost a little over 2 inches, almost 2¼ inches of rain right around the straits. So that is something to be watched for, and what that could mean as far as outdoor activities, besides washing out just about everything from Sunday into Monday, it would also mean that if you're out and about in canoes on the rivers or fishing or something like that, you may have to watch out for some higher river water, as we still have some snow that hasn't quite melted yet, and that could add to some of the springtime flooding. So that's just something to watch out for. Here are Sunday's forecast temperatures. As I was telling, the temperature range goes from about 47 all the way up through about 68, 69. A lot of the Cooler temperatures are in eastern upper Michigan, up near especially Whitefish Point and over by Sault Ste. Marie. It does warm up though, where that warm front's expected to stay right around the straits and kind of stall out there. So our temperatures are going to be roughly through the 60s in northern lower Michigan. So to recap all of this, our temperatures on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are going to gradually warm, with the warmest day being on Sunday. However, we do expect some rain showers and thunderstorms to start sometime Saturday night and get into Sunday. And what does that mean for our outdoor activities? Well, it means camping, hiking, biking, and such will be good up until about Saturday night. And then on Sunday, we are expecting the rain to move in. So that is something to be careful of. If you are out and about on the rivers, you're good up until about Sunday. Now the rain won't get into as it gets in there, it may not affect the rivers right away. It's probably at least a delay of about 6 to 12 hours once the rain starts that you'll start seeing any rising rain or river waters. The main thing to be concerned with is if you're out and around on Monday as well and into Tuesday, that we could see some higher rivers at that time if you're out doing any canoeing and camping along, say, the AuSable or Manistee rivers. So just keep that in mind. Otherwise, by the next weekend, we should be back to normal with as far as the river flow, and it looks like we probably at this point won't have another big heavy dump, but of course that is out 10 days, so that's something to keep a thought for. Otherwise, some people have been asking about morel mushrooms, and that season is getting closer. Typically we expect our warmest temperatures for the morels will start popping during the daytime of like between the 60 and 70 degree mark, and at nighttime not less than the mid 40s. So we're not quite there yet. We might get there for some part of the weekend, but probably not a long enough time for the spores to actually start popping all over the place and starting to get mushrooms to start coming up out of the ground. So you still need to keep an eye on it. We're probably at least another week or a week and a half away before we really start seeing some of that. And we need to get rid of some of the frost that we've been getting in the early mornings, because that's just killing off most of the stuff that is getting out during some of these warmer periods. So that is the next thing to keep an eye out for. This has been the Northern Michigan Recreation Weather Podcast. We thank you for listening in, and we'll see you again next week.